I'd like this phone to become a long, fruity drink. Yeah, there's an app that can do that. I'd like this phone to become a lightsaber. Yeah, there's an app that can do that. And I'd like half an hour of the most fun and exciting technology news on TV. Here's our app that can do that.
A year on from the launch of Apple's App Store, it now appears everyone's at it. This week on Click, we look at the downloadable applications that can turn your smartphone into 1,000 different things. Also, web searches are getting smarter. New software attempts to understand what search terms actually mean. We'll be checking them out later. We've also got this week's tech news and a roundup of the best of the web in Webscape.
Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. These days, it seems that our mobile phones can do almost anything. As well as make phone calls, they are now personal assistants, they're maps, they magnify things, they even record the calories that we burn. Now, this is all thanks to an explosion in big-name online stores where we can go and download all this extra stuff for our handsets. Dan Simmons popped down to the mobile marketplace.
If you want to check how many calories are in your lunch, there's an app for that.
A year ago, most people didn't know what a mobile app was. Now, there are adverts about it.
Yep, there's an app for just about anything, only on the iPhone.
The popularity of Apple's App Store has shown many of us what our handsets are capable of. All these logos fire up applications, self-contained bits of software that do specific things, most created by independent developers, not Apple. There are over 50,000 of these on the App Store, offering much more than just weather updates or live mapping. This one streams radio stations to the handset and lets you record what you hear. And this one lets you write an email while on the move, using the camera to show you where you're going. But this is not an ad for Apple. They may have popularised the mobile app, but they're not the only fruit in the marketplace. In fact, applications have been around for lots of different handsets and not just smartphones for years. The problem has been where to find them. Sites like GetJar.com and Handango have tried to collect them all together, offering thousands of apps for all types of phones, many of which are free. But sites like these have not been promoted by phone makers, so you had to hunt them out. And downloading apps to the handset hasn't been straightforward either. A PC was needed, and then you'd have to transfer the files to the handset, which then needed to be installed, and all in all, a bit fiddly for some. Thankfully, both of those lessons have been learned. There are more phones that can download mobile apps directly to the handset, and in recent years, a spate of new websites have sprung up, fronted by some pretty big names, turning a ramble through the marketplace into a stroll along the high street. This is the latest big-name entrant. Nokia's Ovi Store doesn't just offer apps, but helps you sync and share content with friends. Ovi comes preloaded on this new N97 model. For other handsets, the shortcut can be downloaded by visiting the Ovi website on your mobile. We found around 600 apps, with around a third of them being free. Generally, the paid-for apps here are more expensive than Apple's. You'll need to sign up for an Ovi account and use a credit card for anything you buy. So what's here? Well, along with the usual productivity apps and games, we found this cheeky one, which could be a lifesaver. Richard! Hi. Yeah, overslept? No. Traffic. Nightmare. Really bad. Yeah. Won't be with you for maybe a couple of hours. Anyway, gotta go. Gotta drive. Okay, bye. The ever-useful Choose Your Own Background Noise app might just get you out of a tight spot. In April, BlackBerry opened up its App World store, again downloadable to the handset from the website. Up front are half a dozen or so daily featured apps, but browsing the 1,200 or so offerings is easily done. Unhelpfully, the free and paid-for apps are mixed in together. This one, for example, helps you manage your travel itinerary and helps find hotels while abroad. If you want to buy, you'll need an online PayPal account. Once the app is downloaded, you'll find it in the phone's download folder, ready to use. It's an easy-to-use interface, but beware, App World only works in North America and the UK at present, with more European countries expected to be added later this month. You'll also need a handset with either a trackball or touch screen. Google dipped its toe into the phone market last year, not making handsets, but creating the open-source Android operating system on which they run. These handsets have Google's own App Market pre-installed. Although the website gives a flavour of the apps available, it's only on an Android phone that you can view all several thousand of them. Again, the software downloads straight to the main folder. This one turns your pictures black and white and allows you to pick out the parts you want to colour in. And the PhotoSafe app conveniently hides your dubious photos of colleagues from prying eyes with a password. Meanwhile, it's all just a little bit more laid back at the Windows camp. While most of the other big players have their app stores up and running by now, this is the virtual test card on display at Microsoft's Windows Marketplace. Yes, just boxed software here, despite the 20,000 or so Windows apps out there on independent sites. The boys from Redmond say they'll pop something up here for the fans soon, maybe before Christmas. No rush. Smaller players like Sony Ericsson are getting underway too. Its Play Now Arena site opened to developers this month. More apps will join the ringtones and games here later this year. So what's next for mobile apps? Well, mobile operators are now getting in on the act, and one firm trying to help them says operators will bring a new dimension to the app experience.
At the moment you have messaging, for example, as a call service, you have voicemail, you have calls. But these are all separated away from the app on your phone. These type of services can be integrated into your favourite social networking site. It could be said that you're talking to a friend and that be published directly that you're talking to a friend. So it really just makes your entire communication experience a whole one rather than just a small number of parts put together.
Despite the popularity of mobile apps, research suggests many, once downloaded, aren't used at all. With hundreds of new ones coming our way each day, that's great for us, the customer, if we know what we want.
Dan Simmons, avoiding as much work as he possibly can. Now, if you missed anything, there's a full explanation of how to get more from your mobile at our website, bbc.co.uk/click, where you'll also find our selection of top apps for most of the popular handsets. Now, there are some great ideas up there, but if you've found a better app, let us know. We'll add it to the list and everyone can share. Email click@bbc.co.uk. Now, the latest tech news.
First came Google, the search engine. Then came other services like Google Mail, Google Apps, Google Voice, Google Talk, a Google web browser, and even a Google operating system for mobiles. Well, in yet another shot across Microsoft's bows, this week it's announced via its blog that it's to launch a PC operating system. The open source OS is called Chrome, the same name as its web browser. No coincidence there, as it's very much a lightweight system focused on cloud computing and web services, which means that even lower power PCs and netbooks can support it. It's expected to launch in the second half of 2010, potentially heralding a power struggle with Microsoft of epic proportions. And we'll have more on netbooks and Chrome OS in next week's show. China has ramped up its censorship of foreign web services again, this time after the recent riots in the western region of Xinjiang. After blocking some online communications services, now the central government has removed unapproved references to the violence from search engines and barred access to Facebook and Twitter from most parts of mainland China. Meanwhile, Australia is to use social networking sites to give people early warnings of bushfires. It comes after residents of towns in Victoria State said they had little notice of the devastating blazes that killed 173 people in February. The usual advice for homeowners to stay and defend their properties or to seek refuge elsewhere will be revised to put far more emphasis on leaving early, with a suggestion that Twitter and Facebook are the obvious ways of spreading the word quickly.
Welcome back. If you want to find something out these days, the chances are one of the first things you'll do is type it into a search engine. The result will be an avalanche of websites containing the words that you've typed in, hopefully with the most useful ones at the top of the list. But there is a new generation of search engine under development which will not only return words and pictures, but will actually attempt to understand the meaning of your question. And as Ian Hardy reports from Silicon Valley, that could be the answer everyone's looking for.
The search engine is one of those inventions that is so omnipresent in today's society, we can't remember how we ever coped without it. For much of the past 2 decades, the little blue underlined links have been triggered by straightforward keyword connections. It's been an adequate solution, but one that is far from perfect.
Human beings view the world in terms of associations. So just as an example, a classic example in the scientific community is when you say the sentence, "I saw a bird with a telescope." Okay, human beings instantly know that it was you, not the bird, that was using the telescope. But computers don't know that. They don't know anything about any of that.
So search engines have never really understood the precise meaning or true intent of questions and phrases. This is sometimes referred to loosely as semantic search. A new batch of search engines, like Cosmix, is trying to incorporate human understanding into this complex mathematical computation. Rather than returning thousands of less and less meaningful results, it tries to stay on topic and present the information in a more meaningful way.
The idea is for people to be able to scan it and sort of find interesting things, more like a magazine. You're kind of scanning a magazine, flipping through, and suddenly something catches your eye serendipitously. So that is the goal of Cosmix, to lay out things to sort of encourage that kind of serendipity. And to do that, we've sort of tried to take information of different kinds and render it in a visually appealing format.
One of the newest search sites to emerge is Bing. With such a simple name, it may surprise you to learn that this is a Microsoft product. It's the latest reincarnation of Windows Live Search and MSN Search, which have never been as popular as Yahoo or Google. But in 2008, Microsoft bought semantic search company PowerSet that uses updated methods to produce their results.
We take a machine learning approach, we take a symbolic, rule-based approach as well, and we find that using sort of the best approach for various parts of the problem allows us to bring this technology to the world in a usable way in search engines. And of course, we haven't solved all of the problems of natural language yet. We're not even close. But we have, we think, moved the needle a little bit, and there's a lot of exciting work that's going to happen, particularly, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years.
Increasingly, search is moving beyond desktops. One recent survey in the US showed the number of search apps downloaded to mobile phones in the past year has doubled, with a third more searches done on mobile web browsers. Many devices have GPS and a constant stream of updated information. A search engine of the future will not just return a list of restaurants that you may be interested in, for example, but rather it will know that you're inside a car, it will know the time of day and the traffic conditions. So when you get to the restaurant, it will be able to guide you to the nearest available parking space and also tell you the specific lunch specials for that day's menu. Of course, typing on the go is dangerous and even illegal in some places, so the physical way we search may change over time.
We're starting to see speech input for search on mobile devices. And as the accuracy of speech recognition continues to improve, I think we'll see that more and more. Certainly with a mobile device, it's a lot easier to say what you want rather than type some keywords. And in fact, that's where we see the value of natural language as well, because when people speak, they don't speak in keywords. They speak in simple, short sentences when they know that there's a speech recognizer listening to them.
It's a long way from the search engines of the 1990s, when there were far fewer pages to search through. Sometimes you had to know the exact file name to find it. Yet even now, some of the world's brightest tech minds, including Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, believe search is still in its infancy and that semantics is key to a more powerful internet.
The thing explodes when somebody has creativity to look at a piece of data that was put there for one reason and realize that they connect it with something else and cure a disease or figure out why it's something to do with Alzheimer's or figure out something to do with cancer, make some huge change, or realize something about global warming because we've managed to get all the data about the state of the world out there.
There is a race going on between the established players and the young startups to take search to the next level. It'll become highly personalized, intuitive, and more integrated into our lives. One day, likely many years from now, you'll get the most suitable result you were looking for immediately, every time.
Ian Hardy, who despite everything still hasn't found what he's looking for. Okay, finally, Webscape. Stand by, here comes Kate Russell with this week's surfing suggestions.
The internet has always been a great place to find role-playing games, but one of the problems for me is I tend to get sucked into these games for hours on end, getting very little else done in a day. Dino RPG has done away with this temptation by giving you a maximum number of moves you can make a day. It's a simple yet impossibly cute game which challenges you to buy your very own dino with a stash of gold you're provided with at the start, and then make your way around the game world completing missions and winning fights to gain experience points. Defeating various mobs will also win you gold, which you can use to buy additional dinos or visit the shop and buy some equipment and upgrades for your current charge. These include a pack of potions to let you have additional moves and items you can eat and drink to restore your dino's health points, which will be worn away over several fights. Think of this game as a little lunchtime excursion into the colourful realm of the dinos. If you're watching this show, then I reckon there's a pretty good chance you're into science and techie type things. I know, I'm a pretty perceptive person, and I have a feeling you're going to like this next site too. Phys.org.com is the place to go if you're after all the latest breaking news from the worlds of physics, space, technology, nanotechnology, chemistry, biology. In fact, they pretty much have the world of science and technology sewn up. The opening page spotlights all the latest news stories, so you can see at a glance what's new in the world. If you're looking for something specific, the key topics are listed across the top, with further subheadings appearing underneath the menu bar when you click on a link. There are stories here to cater for every taste, from news about the refurbishment of the Hubble Space Telescope, to information about the latest developments in the world of consumer technology. And if you're not in the mood for reading, because let's face it, this site is kind of text heavy, there is a link to all of the video content in the panel on the right, just under the search box. Stop motion animation seems to be spreading through the web like wildfire at the moment. I showed you a download a few weeks ago that lets you make your own stop motion movies, but if you want something a little faster for just a few minutes of fun, PitterWilson-Toys.com is the place to go. The opening page here blasts you straight away with a wall of crazy creations that have been recently made on the site. The layout is simple and to the point. You can browse through the gallery, click on a thumbnail animation to see it larger, and when you're ready to make your own, just click the big red button at the top. There's no registration needed here, just click the screen to continue and then give the site permission to access your camera. The next screen shows you the camera view on the left and a live preview on the right. Options include setting a 3-second timer on frame capture adding a grid for perfect positioning, and seeing a ghost of the previous frame to help you pinpoint the next move. You do only get 20 frames here, so the animations are fast and furious. Once complete, you can save and publish your work so it shows on the gallery wall. And you're also provided with a link to your animation. It's only saved on the site for 30 days, so do make sure you click the link to save it as a .gif if you want to keep it or send it to anyone else. And finally, a quick look at a search engine that works in a way slightly different from the norm and should help you find your way to all the content people are talking about today. OneRiot.com aims to keep its finger on the pulse of popular culture by trawling the links people post on Twitter, Dig and other social sharing sites. So if you're looking for that movie, tune or the latest internet meme everyone is talking about, this search engine should turn up far more relevant and up-to-date links. Well, that's all I have time to show you today. I hope you found something of interest here. If you did, there are links to all the pages explored on our website, and Spencer will be along shortly to give you that URL.
Kate Russell, chewing up your spare evenings, one website at a time. bbc.co.uk/click is the site you need for everything to do with our show. There's a video stream of the programme up there, along with all that lovely extra mobile app stuff from Dan's report too. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.